What is going on, everybody? It is Monday, June 23rd, which means it's time for another Monday Market video, and we are returning to Pokemon. And the theme of today is that the heavy hitters are finally seeing a pretty steep decline across the board, and we're going to get into all of that very, very shortly. Now, before we do that, if you guys could just do me the really big favor right now, please hit that like button. If you're new, consider hitting that subscribe button. Don't forget to also hit that notification bell so you guys never miss when I drop a video. Comment down below if you guys are also seeing the same type of movement in your local card store or at the card events, all of that kind of stuff, like collectors con and stuff like that. Are you guys also seeing very similar people are vendors starting to finally drop their prices when you go to these card stores or card shows and stuff like that? Let me know what your guys' experience is out there in the wild. Basically, I know at my local card store I'm starting to see a lot of that, which is why I quickly ran home, did some information, did some digging into some numbers, and I'm finding the exact same thing, that some of those heavy hitters are finally seeing a pretty big decline. So I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Kicking things off, these are cards that are trending down currently. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into this. We have kicking things off Charizard EX from Paldea Fates. A heavy hitter indeed. 3 months ago was selling at $187 and now currently $160. That's a 14% decrease. It's a pretty good start off there. Now we got a lot of cards from 151 that were heavy hitters that are starting to see a pretty big decline. Not the heavy hitters are so triple digits, but these are some cards that definitely hold their weight that a lot of people and collectors definitely want. Again, you guys know how I feel about 151. I think 151 is going to be a great set to pretty much collect. I do think if you hold on to it over the course of time, this will be a set that we all kind of return back to and be like, man, that was a great set. Crown Zenith's another one of those sets. Prismatic Evolutions, which we're going to talk about a lot in this video, is also another one of those sets. So for 151, Alakazam EX 3 months ago was selling at $47.21 and now currently at $36.12, 23% decrease. Bulbasaur from Scarlet and Violet 151. If I'm a collector, by the way, I would collect the entire OG Gen 1 evolution chain. Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, all of them. All three of those guys right there. Squirtle, Wartortle, Venusaur, Blastoise, Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur. I'm kind of looking at my screen there. So there we go. I would collect all of them. PSA 9s, 10s, everything. Raw cards. Whatever you can get your hands on, get on it right now, especially while we're seeing a pretty big decline across the board. So Bulbasaur from Scarlet and Violet 151 3 months ago was selling at $44.70. It's a pretty good price right there. And now at $30.28, a 32% decrease. This card is gonna hit under $30, as you can see currently selling right now from TCG $29.27. So if this card continues to hit, and that's a good thing, by the way, because this set is getting printed into an oblivion, and I don't care how much is getting reprinted. Keep reprinting it, Pokemon. Just keep doing it. I want to see all these cards crash, because what always comes down will always go back up in the next 5-10 years. It seems like once every 3, 4, 5 years, we're going to go through this Pokemon phenomenon where everybody just can't get enough of it. So, it seems like it doesn't matter how much they reprint it. People are still going to want it, so I'm all for it. Charmander, Scarlet and Violet 151. Again, 3 months ago, $46.22, and now $40.92, 11% decrease. Pretty good there. For the golden pick, we're going to get into it right away. This is my golden pick for today's video for cards that are trending down. We have Venusaur EX from Scarlet and Violet 151. Again, I'm very high on 151, so there'll be a lot of golden picks from that set, and that's just, I can't help it. I really high on this set. An OG Gen 1 set that has artwork like this is, to me, going to hold its weight in gold. I don't care how much it gets reprinted. I still think this is a set worth collecting in the long run. If you're someone who's investing, Poke investing, all that kind of stuff, if you want to see your collection, I do think if you hold strong, 10 toes down, over the course of 5-10 years, this set will always hold its value. I think at some point, we're going to come back to it, right? Over the course of 5 to 10 years, and all of a sudden we go through this Pokemon phase again, where everybody just can't get enough. I do think 151 is going to be one of those sets that people look back at and go, damn, that was a good set, even though they reprinted it into an oblivion. Will it be an Evolving Sky set? I think yes. A lot of people will think differently, but I do think this will be like an Evolving Skies-like set where a lot of the cards you see triple and quadruple in value. Are they going to hit the type of market that Evolving Skies is right now, hitting $1,000 plus on almost every card? No, but the reason why I also think this set's going to age very well is because this wasn't a booster box set, you guys. This was a set that it took the alternative product out there, the VMAX box, the V box, the booster bundles, that kind of stuff is why I do think this set is going to be worth its weight in gold. Venusaur is my golden pick for this video. Here are some of the numbers. 3 months ago, $73.60, and now all the way down to $53.53, a 27% decrease. If you take the entire 1 year, its peak was about right there, $87.14. So, and I think that was actually 6 months ago. Not even have to go back a year ago. Let me see if I can. Yeah, there we go. So about just 6 months ago, this card was almost cracking into the 90s, and now just a couple of months later, it's all the way down to 53.53. And you guys can see, still going to be just a little bit under that right now. As it currently is selling at 52.38. I do think all of these peaks that we saw, at some point, this will all hit those peaks again. And I do think once it hit that peak a second time or even a third time around, it will at some point create a new peak. So its peak in a 1 year time lapse was 80 something dollars, right? I do think, and over the course of 4, 5, 10 plus years, that's what it means to invest or to collect, right? You hold on to it for a very long time to pass down to your kids. That's why I collect all these things. I'm gonna pass it down to my kids. If you're someone who's watching this right now and you're someone who's thinking about doing the same thing, I do think Scarlet and Violet 151 is definitely a set worth investing your money to collect, to hold on for a long time, to pass down a grail to your kids. Crown Zenith, another great set. Prismatic Evolutions, another great set. So those are just my thoughts. Let me know how you guys feel down below about my golden pick for this video and everything else that I had to say. Moving on, we have War Turtle from Scarlet and Violet 151, of course. 3 months ago, 33.43, and now 23.10. And you guys can see it's gonna pretty much just hold right there. Is it 2 cents below that? So pretty good there. Ammonite from 151. 3 months ago, this card was $8.95, and now most recently sold $5.28. It's a 41% decrease. So that's it for 151. Now we're going to get into some real heavy hitters. Now, all of these cards from Prismatic Evolutions are seeing a pretty steep decline. That is a good thing. That's also because of reprints and everybody else just getting their hands on the set more and more and more. So with that being said, let's go ahead and kick things off. We got Vaporeon EX from Prismatic. 3 months ago, this card is sold at $366, and now most recently selling at $254, 30% decrease. Umbreon, the really big heavy hitter from Prismatic Evolutions, 3 months ago, selling at over $1,400, and now most recently selling at $1,069.99. And you guys can see it's going to hit right around that $1,000 mark, or actually just below $1,000, excuse me. It's going to hit a little bit below $1,000. So this card is continually to go down. That's a good sign right there. That's a 26% decrease. Espeon from Prismatic Evolutions, 3 months ago was selling at $413, and now most recently selling at $291, 29% decrease. Glaceon, Prismatic, 3 months ago, $323, and now most recently selling at $229, 28% decrease. And this is another set that I would heavily spend some money on. I just know it's going to definitely hurt your wallet to collect these cards, but I do think it's going to be worth it in the long run. Leafeon EX from Prismatic Evolutions, 3 months ago, $452, and now most recently, $294. That's a 34% decrease. Jolteon from Prismatics, 3 months ago was selling at $296. It peaked right here at $331, and now all the way down to $244. It's a 17% decrease. And you guys can see where this card is at right now. It's at $205 plus $199 shipping. So this card will continue to see a decline. That's a good thing right there. Flareon EX from Prismatics, 3 months ago, $387, now most recently sold at $208, and you guys can see it's going to sell below $200. That is once again a very good sign. It's a 46% decrease. Now that is it for the Prismatic cards. That's all the heavy hitters right there. Again, if you have the money to go spend on a set, those would be the cards, by the way, that I would spend every single dollar on. For the ones that are not the budget, pretty much the budget pickers, go to 151, go to Crown Zenith. But if you have the deep pockets, if you are a whale, Prismatic is going to be your set. Moving on for cards that are trending now, we have Alolan Dugtrio from Surging Sparks. 3 months ago, this card was $10.19, and now most recently selling at $467. We have Miriam from Scarlet and Violet base set. 3 months ago, $28.26, peaked all the way right here at $40.91, and now all the way back down to $25.35. That's a 10% decrease, and this card's going to continue to go down a little bit. That's a good sign. Sandy Shocks EX from Prismatic Evolutions. 3 months ago, $67.66, and now most recently selling at $34.91, 48% decrease. And the last card on this list, Clamperl from Destined Rivals. When the set first came out, $10.19, and now most recently selling at $470, 53% decrease. And that's because, again, that's the hype and the pre-release cards, stuff like that, and then naturally all that stuff does come down. So that is it for the cards that are trending down. Let me know what your favorite card was that was trending down. Let me know how you guys feel about the golden pick. Now, like we always do, let's go ahead and flip that script and show you guys cards that are trending up. All right, now that we showed you guys cards that are trending down, here are some cards that are trending up, and you guys will notice that these are a lot of older sets, a lot of Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon is a set in particular that is really on the rise right now. So if you're someone who maybe just wants to kind of really collect something unique, maybe forego a lot of the modern cards, maybe you're into some of the older sets like Sun and Moon, I think Sun and Moon would be perfect for you. A couple of older sets that I'm also going to show you as well too. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. So kicking things off, we have Rowlet and Alolan Executor. This is the secret rare from Sun and Moon Unified Minds. Something I hope Pokemon never does this again, by the way. I hate this rainbow art, but you guys will see this set is on the rise. So 3 months ago, this was selling at $16.53 and most recently selling at $25.90, 56% increase. Next up, we have Slowpoke and Psyduck from Unified Minds. 3 months ago, this card would have costed you $40.30 and now most recently selling at $56.05, a 39% increase. We have Umbreon and Darkrai GX from Sun and Moon Unified Minds. 3 months ago, this card would have costed you $38.55 and now most recently sold $81.71. It's a 111% increase. And you guys can see what is being sold right now. It's $101. That card is going to cost you. Celebi and Venusaur GX from Sun and Moon Team Up. 3 months ago, this card was $30.30 and now most recently selling at $46.58. And you guys can see it's going to sell a little bit below that, so we'll come back down just a little bit. For the golden pick for cards that are trending up, I have Gyarados EX, the full art from XY Breakpoint. This is the red Gyarados. The reason why this is also my golden pick is just because I absolutely love this card. I love red Gyarados. The alternative art is also really nice, so if you're someone who really likes that type of look on Gyarados, I highly recommend getting both copies of this. Another reason why this card is my golden pick is because very soon, it sounds like we're going to get a new gold and silver for the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. When that happens, I do expect some of those Gen 2 Pokemon, specifically like Red Gyarados and others, to kind of increase just because of the nostalgia effect. That seems to happen with Pokemon. But if you just take a look at some of these numbers right now, 3 months ago, this card would have costed you $32.36. It's most recently sold right here at $45.27. What is being sold right now near mint? $76.95. And you can see there's only 4 in existence. So after the $70 ones, you're looking at $150. Now, if you just take a look, I actually have some PSAs right here to actually take a look at what's being sold as a PSA 9. So if you're someone who maybe wants to buy to get graded, if you're someone who just likes the raw cards, this doesn't concern you whatsoever. But if you're someone who likes to buy these cards and hopefully get graded, you might want to just skip the middleman and just go ahead and go right to eBay and just look at PSA 9s. If you take a look at what's being sold for PSA 9, we have one right here at $125. We also have a couple other ones. These are the alternative art, of course, but we have a couple others like right down here at $143. I'm not seeing a whole lot. Doesn't seem like there's a lot. $149. Not a whole lot. So if you think about it, if you're going to spend $70 to $80 on a card, then spend another $20 just to ship it out and to get it graded as well, and then you got to pay another $4, $5, $3, $10 to get it shipped back to you and stuff like that, you're already looking at a $30 investment. So you're in the hole now for about $106. This one right here is very, 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 very appealing to me. Maybe reach out to them, say, hey, would you take $115 plus shipping for this card? You'd be surprised how many people actually just say yes. And look at some of these other ones like PSA 8s right here for the alternative art one that's very clean, $150 or best offer, like $200 or best offer, $150 for buy it now. Here's another one that's a PSA 6. Oof, don't really want that. But again, what I'm trying to show you guys is maybe skip the middleman and just go directly to eBay and buy some PSA directly that are already slapped up, so you don't have to do the work or wait to get it graded, because who knows, maybe you buy this card, maybe this really is near mint, maybe you buy the card, maybe you only get back a 7 or an 8. You're gonna feel really bad, because really what we really want as collectors is you want the 9s and the 10s. Everything below that is pretty much worthless when it comes to PSA. Maybe you send off to Beckett, maybe you get lucky and get an 8, 8.5. That does hold a little bit of more weight to it, but typically if you're gonna send the PSA, you just want a 9 or a 10. Anything below that, pretty much worthless. So just want to go ahead and show you guys a couple of numbers on that one. Moving on, Venusaur and Snivy GX from Cosmic Eclipse. 3 months ago, this card would have costed you $20.40. Most recently sold at $28.34, 42% increase. And you guys can see this card is only going to go up from there. Togepi, Cleffa, and Igglybuff GX Sun and Moon Cosmic Eclipse. 3 months ago, this card was $25.09. It went all the way down to $22.10, and now most recently selling at $34.23, a 36% increase. Mars Shadow and Machamp, Unbroken Bonds, the full art. 3 months ago, this card was $100, and now most recently sold at $153, and you guys can see currently selling at $250. Pretty good there. Reshiram and Charizard GX, full art, Unbroken Bonds. 3 months ago, this card was only $45.16. Most recently sold at $64.36, 42% increase. But what is being sold right now, $145. Lucario and Melmetal GX from Unbroken Bonds. 3 months ago, this card sold at $17.31 and most recently sold at $20.36, a 17% increase. And you guys can see that card's going to go up just a little bit more than that. Muck and Alolan Muck from Unbroken Bonds 3 months ago, $7.22, and now most recently sold at $12.82, 77% increase. And this card is going to cost you currently $23.40. Mewtwo from XY Breakthrough. 3 months ago, this card was $77, so below 100, and now most recently sold at $102, 34% increase, and you guys can see it's going to go way up from there. Mars Shadow Machamp. This is the secret rare from Unbroken Bonds. 3 months ago, this card, I think, recently sold at $32.68, yep, and now most recently sold at $41.47, and what is being sold is about $60 for that card. And Magikarp from Paldea Evolved. 3 months ago, 1 month ago, this card sold at $190. This card is seeing a little bit of an incline going back up. Recently sold a month ago was $211.28, 11% increase, and you guys can see pretty much going to hold steadily right there. So this card was under 200 for a little bit, and now already back up to 200. That is going to do it for cards that are trending up, and that is going to do it for this video in general. Let me know what some of your favorite cards were that I showed you guys, and let me know what some of your experiences are as well. You know, are you guys seeing as much of this influx that I'm seeing when you go to your local card store or to a card show, where you kind of just walking through and there's got vendor after vendor and you got everybody's card displays? Are you guys also seeing the decline? With all of this volatility, I do wonder how long these card shows are going to last, because there's so much movement in the market that people are going to constantly update their prices. I can't imagine that being a good thing for them. So let me know what you guys think. That's going to do it for me. If you made this far in the video, just please, if for no other reason, hit that like button. And as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see you guys next time.